What's up, guys? Tuesdays with Taylor, episode 11. I got a special guest with me today. Some of you might know this guy, Dr. Brett Winchester. So today we are talking about orthotics. So this has been a topic that's kind of come up in treatment rooms lately. When they're important, why we use them, and why we maybe don't use them so much. And so today we're kind of going to talk about when we use them and why it's not necessarily a cure-all. So a lot of times, honestly, we're taking orthotics out of people more often than we're putting them in to help people with lower extremity and symptoms. So
yeah, for sure. So I think there's basically 4 things that would lead you to orthotic therapy, even after failing with a trial of care with them. Those would be tibial torsion issues. So if we have an excessive twist in the tibia, if there's too much varum or coronal plane bend in the tibia, if there's excessive pronation in the medial longitudinal arch, if there's a forefoot varus deformity, which is basically if we look at the foot here to see what the plane of the forefoot is in relation to the rear foot. And then the final thing would be functional hallucis limitus. So what I mean is, if one of those 4 things are at play, you could make an argument for orthotic therapy right off the bat, even before they failed therapy. I'm not saying we do that every time, but those are the structural problems because of developmental kinesiology and because of other reasons that sometimes we're just not able to get around, so we have to use the orthotic therapy to help us.
Exactly, but first line of defense that we're always going to do is a trial of care. That's what's so cool about when we come in here. A lot of times we're not taking the orthotic out right away, even if they have them already. We're going to see if we can change the muscle synergy around the foot. We're going to see if we can change how maybe their gait cycle, how they're running, how they're adapting, and see if we can get around that deformity.
Yeah, because everyone's foot is kind of like a footprint. So we don't really have like an ideal perfect foot that we see. Yeah. So and everyone's a little bit unique in how they're going to use the muscles around their foot and the mobility of the foot, how the joints are articulated together. So yeah, it's a little bit unique. Yeah. So in every case, a little different.
And what's cool is that we're lucky that we get to work with one of the best in the world to build orthotics. So they're not just taken off the shelf, right, randomly that we kind of pick, right? If you look down here, we have a pedigraph that basically takes a footprint, or in other words, it looks at what your foot looks like in the gait cycle, and then we take a cast of what the foot looks like. In other words, we push your foot down in there, takes like almost like a cast of the foot, and then he uses that along with the things that we give him. Sean Hino, and that is what determines what kind of orthotic we're building.
And our next one that we'll do, we'll actually have Sean on the program. But Sean, I think, is the most informative, educated podorthist that is out there. Yeah. So for those who don't know, a podorthist means that you're a person who builds orthotics. Yeah. So that's what he does. And what's nice about Sean is, we for years, and I've had a relationship with him for probably 15 years. If we're confused about a case, we can call him up and he's going to know exactly what we're talking about. Whereas like sometimes with the other companies, there's just a huge disconnect between that.
For sure,
so.
For sure. And is there a difference between Dr. Scholl's stepping on the thing and then getting something built customly?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So that's the question that's always like, I went to Walmart and I stepped on the thing and then I pulled and then my foot doesn't really feel
well, the problem with the Dr. Scholl's things too, if you put them on the ground, you'll see they usually are just going to pancake out. Mm-hmm. A really good orthotic is going to be a little bit forgiving, but it's also going to be made, usually we use EVA, mm-hmm. So it can give, but also it still holds its support when they're waking
Right, I love it. Well, I hope that was informative for you guys. Stay tuned, we'll do another one kind of on what exactly goes into building the orthotic, and then hopefully get Sean on the program and for the next Tuesday with Taylor.
Well, I think too what's hard is that we usually also think like you need to go to a podiatrist to do it, which the podiatrists are great. Yeah. I just think Sean's the best in the world. Right. So I mean, if you have access to it, we'll use them.
Exactly. So. And it's really good. We're going to know if it's going to work or not, because if you fail a trial of care with us, more than likely it's probably going to help. So that's what's so cool. So if you or anybody you know is struggling with foot pain, or maybe been told that there's no hope for them to get over their plantar fasciitis, or knee pain or heel pain and stuff like that, we would love to take a shot at it, see if we can give them some relief and get them some long-term care. So thanks for joining me, Dr. Winchester. We'll see you guys next week. All right.